Hello, everybody. Hello. Welcome to the space. I am Jamal, Maxsam, an igniter of champion leaders, your igniter of champion leaders. And I specifically ignite leaders to lead from a kingdom perspective so that you can facilitate and lead change where you are assigned. And I'm so glad to see you today. For those of you who are watching me online, remember to comment, like, and share this video. I also want to give you an opportunity to join the Igniting Champion Leaders Club right now, because we are simulcasting in that space right now as we speak. And for those who are listening live on Clubhouse in the Igniting Champion Leaders Club, you will be able to get live Q&A from me at the end of the video podcast. And so I want you to make sure that if you're watching me on Facebook and YouTube and LinkedIn or on my website, that you like, comment, and share, but also catch me in the Igniting Champion Leaders Club on Clubhouse. Hello, Clubhouse. How are you guys doing? Coach Paul, Antonetta, and Adrian, Coach MJ, Jonette, Lawana, thank you guys for being in the space, as well as everyone else who's hopping in and out or catching the replay. Now, if you're watching the video on a replay, let me know in the comments that you're watching the replay right now. So I'm going to dig right into it. Today, we are talking about how to overcome leadership betrayal. And I'm going to give you 3 keys or 3 strategies to overcome leadership betrayal. When we are leading, it's very important to understand that we will face challenges. Leadership can be challenging, even though it is rewarding. And part of the challenges that we will have to deal with is a sense of betrayal as we are serving people through our leadership. Now, I'm going to just remind you how I define leadership. Leadership is defined as influencing people to take action, and that action should lead to impact. And so earlier today, I was in a discussion about the difference between influence and impact. When you are influencing people, it should be to take action to fulfill the vision, and that vision should have enough strength to it that it produces transformation and causes and makes a positive impact on the people, not only that you serve through your leadership, but through the people you are serving through the place you are leading. And so we want to talk about how when you are leading, especially leading shifts, leading changes, leading transitions, leading people to the next level, helping them to leave their comfort zone and embrace the unfamiliar, you're going to deal with betrayal. Now, the first thing I want to share with you is the fact that let's define betrayal. Betrayal is different than opposition. Because when you deal with opposition, that comes from people who are not close to you. That comes from people who might not agree with your leadership, or agree with the vision, or just flat out have a problem with you for whatever reason. That's That's opposition. Betrayal comes from people who are close to you, people who have been around you, people who may be in your inner circle, people who you may be serving and supporting through your leadership, and you're building relationship and establishing connection. Those are the ones that where the betrayal may come from. It is not from the outside, it's basically from within your camp per se. And so the betrayal comes from people within your camp, and they're close to you. That's why it's called betrayal. Now, I often call leadership betrayal the kiss of Judas, because those of you who understand who Judas is and the concept of how he behaved in a biblical sense, you'll understand what I'm talking about. Now, for those of you who are not believers or anything like that, let me explain why I call it the kiss of Judas. Judas was one of the disciples of Jesus. He was one of the 12 that were selected to be the leaders of his group out of all of his followers, because he had thousands and millions of people following him. He had 72 people that he sent out, but he had 12, a select group of people he was basically developing as leaders, and it was 12 of them, and Judas was one of those 12. Judas had the responsibility of taking care of the money, and so he was the money guy. And so when I say the kiss of Judas, is because when Jesus was betrayed, Judas brought people to come arrest Jesus, and it was a mob of them with weapons to arrest Jesus. And he said, the one whom I kiss is the one that's Jesus, because the people coming to arrest him could not tell or did not know what he looked like. And so Judas came and kissed Jesus, greeting him as if they were friends. And so when I talk about betrayal being the kiss of Judas, is because someone close to you who may be nice to you or appear to have relationship with you or appear to have your best interest at heart may be the one who leads you in betrayal or leads other people in their efforts to bring opposition against your leadership. It is a very strange thing, and it is a thing that is not talked about a lot. Those of you who know my background, you know I'm a former school principal, and so I could tell you I dealt with this a lot. I've had relationship with people on the leadership team that I was developing and helping grow, giving opportunity to, and really developing almost a friendship like, and have had them betray me. I've had people who wanted my position, politically maneuver to try to get my position because they wanted to try to bring shame on my leadership and make me look bad. There are other leaders that I know of who have experienced the same thing, from assistant principals, from deans, from board members. It gets real political, and that's just from the school standpoint. But no matter where you're leading, you may deal with these same type of politics where someone wants your position but is close to you, so they are doing things to get you out of position because they want your position, or they're manipulating or conspiring with people to come against you because they believe that might be the way to get you to stop doing what you're doing, so that they can then assume a position of leadership or assume control. Because a lot of times when you're dealing with opposition in your leadership, it's all about somebody wanting control. They want to have say so. And if you refuse to be the puppet, then they will come against you and your leadership. And I'm just going to be very blunt about it. So let's talk about, before I give you these 3 keys, and I actually threw in the extra, so it's going to be 4 keys to overcoming leadership betrayal. I want to identify some of the reasons why someone will engage in leadership betrayal and give you the kiss of Judas. And so here we go. Let's dig into it. So we're going to identify some of those causes. So the first thing is an offense. When you don't do what the person, the traitor, the Judas thinks you should do, then they get offended. And out of that place of offense, they then come against you or look for ways to discredit your leadership. When a person is offended, it means that they are not seeing seeing things from the right perspective, because their emotions and their feelings have been hurt. And now they're holding that offense against you, and it's tainting how they see you and how they see your leadership. So when you don't do what someone wants, or if you had to say no to something they wanted to do, if you didn't take their suggestion because it just didn't fit for what you were trying to do, and they get offended, they take offense upon themselves, then that's one of the things that would drive someone to give you the kiss of Judas, or to betray you as a leader, to try to get you out of the way. Now, the second reason, or the second cause of leadership betrayal, is this: position and power. A person wants to give input into the decision making and have input in the direction of the place you're leading, but they don't want to share in the responsibility of leading. And so when someone, and I talked about this before in shared leadership, shared responsibility. So a person that wants shared leadership but doesn't want the responsibility or the accountability of being a part of sharing that leadership, they will try to betray you simply because they want position or they want power. They want the ability to influence people, but don't want the responsibility, or they want the title or the position because it makes them feel good about themselves, or they want that sense of control. And if you are not giving them a sense of control because you're operating, diplomatically, but still recognizing that you are operating as the leader, then they will try to betray you to have someone else put in place that they can control or manipulate or basically give direction to, that would not cause them to have any sense of responsibility whatsoever. So that's the second cause of leadership betrayal. The third one is the person could be just simply an opportunist. They only do things to benefit themselves or to make themselves look good. And so they see betraying you as an opportunity to make themselves look good. Now, this typically happens when people in the leadership arena or in the environment have what I call soft serve leadership. Soft serve leadership is the person that has to be everybody's friend, can't hold them accountable, can't have a tough conversation, or you're the greatest thing since sliced bread. In education, the greatest PD is down the hall. You don't have any room to grow because you are at the pinnacle. That's a soft serve leader who would never help someone grow. They pat them on the back. They're all affirmation without helping them grow. Now, a soft serve leader can be an opportunist simply because they don't want to come against or seem like they are disagreeing with the peer pressure given to them by the small number of accusers. Now, no matter where you're leading, there's going to be a small, or they may be, I don't want to say going to be, there may be a small number of accusers or disruptors in a negative way. You could have the majority of the people who have bought into your leadership, who have given you permission to lead them, who follow you simply because of who you are, the values that you have. They have bought into the vision, but then there's going to be that small group that just won't comply because they just don't want to, for whatever reason. And those are the people that the soft serve leader will cave into simply because they are afraid of conflict and they don't want to come against their opposition, and they bend their will to the small group of pressure, the pressure that comes from that small group. Now, I'm gonna just be real about it. I've heard this is what has been happening in Disney. The small group of people have been making a lot of noise and causing the soft serve CEO that's in position right now to do things contrary to the vision of the company. Yeah, I just put it on blast. I just did. Sorry. So that's what happens. So when that soft serve leader bends to pressure of a small group, then they begin to operate as an opportunist because they want to look good for the group by presenting themselves as being for the people, and then say, "Oh, I'm for you. I'm for you, that I'm serving you," in order to get their support to possibly get a position, but knowing that when they get the position, they won't have real authority because they will constantly be following and bending to the will of that small group. That's why I say you can't be a soft serve leader and you can't be an opportunist. But an opportunist will yield and betray you because that's their aim and that's their goal. Now, here's the next reason that someone will betray you as a leader. They are out of alignment. They are out of alignment with the vision. They're out of alignment with your leadership assignment as you have explained it. They're out of alignment or don't even know their own leadership assignment. So when someone is out of alignment, they're not going with the flow of the mission, with the vision, with your leadership, and they're just kind of just this oddball. And let me say this, and your responsibility is to help them get into alignment with the vision, with how you lead, and help them find and discover their leadership assignment within the vision. Because once they discover their own leadership assignment within the vision, then they can add their part to the fulfillment of the vision. But sometimes when people are simply out of alignment, they get offended, they become opportunists, or they simply betray you because they will think that you are the one that's out of alignment. They're out of alignment, but will think that you don't fit and that you're taking the organization or the place you're leading in the wrong direction. And so they will simply disagree. And now they're going to come up against you and they're going to betray you in the name of saving the organization or preserving the vision. In the school setting, it looks like this. Oh, we have to do what's best for the students, and you're taking the school in the wrong direction. That's the foolishness that they will say to you as a school principal. Now, I could give other examples and other scenarios, but I definitely wanted to give that one because that's something we hear all the time. We want to do what's best for students, but when you analyze that decision, it really is not best for students. It's what's convenient for the person who's trying to push that particular initiative. And you are fine when you're leading in business that happens a lot. They say, oh, this is what's best for the customers, or this is what's best for the entire company, or we have to speak up for this demographic. No, it's not about that. When you boil it down, it's about the person with their own agenda, and they're trying to disguise their agenda within some other worthy cause because they are out of alignment and they're trying to make it look like you are the one that's out of alignment. Don't drink the Kool-Aid. Don't fall for it because that person will try to betray you. Okay? So, those are some of the reasons why someone would betray you as a leader. Now, let me give you 4 things you can do to overcome leadership betrayal. Now, those of you who are listening on Clubhouse, I definitely want to hear your thoughts about this topic. So hang with me because I'm going to get you on stage and I'm going to hear your thoughts. Those of you who are watching me on Facebook, LinkedIn, YouTube, or my website, you can put your comments, put your ideas and thoughts in the comment area and I'll respond to them. But also join the Igniting Champion Leaders Club on Clubhouse and take advantage of this live discussion, Q&A, coaching session, because this is one of the only times that's designed for me to do this where you can hear this information live. And so don't forget to join the club on Clubhouse so you can get this extra benefit and perk. And so here are 4 things I'm going to give you right now to overcome leadership betrayal. I said initially it was 3 keys, but as I kept thinking about tonight, I wanted to give you what I gave you about the causes first, and I'm going to give you 4 things that you can do. All right, so here they are. Number 1, you have to know that something within that person is driving that behavior. They may or may not even know what it is. So that betrayal that's being displayed towards you is not a part of their character or who they are. It's just something that's inside of them that's driving it. It is something that they have experienced, something they've read, something they've thought, some kind of misunderstanding, or they may have been burned in the past, or whatever the case may be. There is a driver to that behavior. And you have to, I would say this, you don't want to waste your time trying to figure out the cause of crazy, but you want to recognize that there is a driver behind it so that you can still continue to treat them like they need to be treated as a person without feeding the foolishness. It's like going to the zoo. They tell you don't feed the animals. Do not feed the foolishness, but you want to continue to love on, nurture, and care for the person. And when you recognize something is driving that behavior, you can separate the person from the behavior. Okay, so that's the first thing. Recognize that something within them is driving it. The second key is this. Recognize that they may have been hurt and are interacting with you based upon past emotional hurts, traumas, and or insecurities. If someone has been treated bad by a leader before, they're going to view your leadership through the eyes of that bad experience. And so all you can do in that point is create a healing environment and do what you do. But after a certain point, it's on them to want to let go of the hurt after they have processed it. And they have to, 1, be willing to process it, and then 2, be willing to let it go and see your leadership as different from whoever it was that did the wrong thing. because a lot of people have been hurt by leaders because leaders have gone through this pendulum swing of being a dictator to being too soft, and they're trying to find the right balance of leading where they don't want to dictate, so they say I'm a servant leader, which is a buzzword, and then but then they in the need of trying to serve, they forget that we are here to accomplish a vision, and I have to help you get better. I have to bring out your gifts and talents, but I also have to hold you accountable and responsible for producing something. And so sometimes they don't want to hold people accountable or responsible for producing because they've had bad experiences themselves. But just know that a person who's had a bad experience will be the person that you serve, you help, you love on, who you demonstrate appreciation for, who will be okay with you in the moment, but then when something get tough, they'll stab you in the back, or they'll be quick to give an accusation against you that is unfounded and untrue. And so that's because they've been hurt in the past, and anything that doesn't seem like lollipop land will trigger that hurt, and out of a means of defense, they will come at you and in order to defend themselves. And so that's the second one. So the first one was know something is driving that behavior. The second one is recognize they may have been hurt in the past and are interacting with you based on those past emotional hurts, trauma, and insecurities. Here's the third key. You have to realize that they may not even be a fit for what you're doing and for where you're going, even though they have been a good fit in the past. Sometimes people who start out as a good fit no longer remain to be a good fit simply because you are growing and the place you are leading is growing and evolving. Now, if people choose not to grow, then they become no longer a good fit, and they get out of alignment because you're growing, the organization you're leading is growing and evolving, but they are staying stagnant. And so, or not growing at all. So things in motion are continuing to move and they're not moving. So now they are out of alignment and not a good fit. And so you have to recognize that this person that's betraying you may just not be a good fit any longer. And you have to help them either get into alignment and help them find how they fit again, or you're going to have them help them find the place where they need to fit in that's better suited for where they are in that season of life. So, and we call that the love shove. So here's the bonus key. Number 4. So the first one was you have to know that something in them is driving the behavior. The second one was recognize that they may have been hurt and are interacting with you based on those past hurts and insecurities and traumas. The third thing was you may have to realize that even though they were a fit in the past, they might not be a good fit any longer because things have shifted and changed and they didn't shift and change with it. Now, here's the fourth key. Now, this is very important. Here's what you really, really need to do. It's extremely easy to say, but could be more challenging to implement. But I'm just going to tell you, this is what you need to do. And if you need help implementing this, send me a DM. DM me the word ignite. Get on my calendar, and then we'll get you going, because you want to be a part of the Leadership Accelerator where I teach you how to overcome challenges just like this as you are walking out your leadership assignment. Because here's the bonus key. Number 4, you want to keep leading and you want to stay focused on your leadership assignment. And when this drama comes to your door, you want to process how you're feeling. You want to release those feelings and then keep it moving. It sounds very insensitive, but it's a necessity, and it's not insensitive because it hurts when people betray you. It hurts when people who are close to you begin to oppose you or side with accusers or stay silent when accusations come, because when people are frustrated, they will criticize and accuse you, because there's a spirit of accusation that comes. They will come at you personally. They'll come at your leadership. They'll come at the strategy. They'll come at the vision. They will attack whatever it is they think they can attack to try to hurt you. It becomes more than a professional disagreement because people try to make it personal, and then they want to get on social media and try to cancel you. And so you have to make sure that when that stuff comes, that you stay focused on your assignment, because the purpose of opposition is to try to stop you from functioning and fulfilling your leadership assignment, no matter who it comes through. So you can't stop the assignment because of people opposing you. And so you want to make sure you stay focused on your leadership assignment. You keep leading, and then you process those emotions, because you're going to feel it. And I'm not saying ignore them or try to guard yourself to the point where now you're closed off from the people you're connecting with, because the same wall you build to keep people out will be the same wall that's up that keep you from connecting to people. And so it'll keep you in as well. So I'm not saying do that. So you got to process those emotions. Then you have to release the emotions, the negative emotions, and then you have to move on. You have to say, I'm going to keep going, because as a leader, your assignment is not predicated or dependent upon affirmation or people saying what you like or doing what you like. That is not the conditions of the assignment as a leader. When you are in a position of leadership, is to bring change and make things better. And that may involve people not liking you, and it may involve people betraying you. So you're going to have to move. You're going to have to find a way to keep it moving and move on from that situation without allowing yourself to get offended or to take any offense. Now, I'm not saying you let people keep dogging you, and I'm not saying you make yourself somebody's whipping board. But what I am saying is something you have to lead above that, because when they're operating in offense and betrayal and accusation, they are operating in a place that is lower than where you need to be operating from as a leader. And so there may be times you have to address it, and there may be times you don't. But whether you address it or not, you have to stay in the place of leading, and you have to stay in a place where your creativity can flow, where you can be strategic, where you can see the answers, where you can continue to build trust and not earn it, and do the things you know to do as a leader from a good place, from a healthy heart. Because you can't be like, well, I'm just going to show them then angrily, because then you get the wrong heart posture, and that would negatively impact your leadership. So that's all I have for those of you watching online for this week's Principal's Office. This is the time where I accelerate your leadership. Now, I want to tell you there are more opportunities to get your leadership accelerated and to dig deeper, not only in this concept, but other concepts just like this, that's going to help you lead change, bring shifts, and bring transformation wherever you lead. And so the Leadership Accelerator is open for enrollment, so you can get ignited to lead from a kingdom perspective, because that is the only perspective that you can find true solution that's going to last. I'm just telling you, because folks been trying it on their own for a long time, and you can see the mess we're in. You can see there's the great resignation that's been going on. And I read an article the other day that said many people are resigning because of toxic cultures. And leaders, you can change cultures, and you can engage in healthy leadership, and you can make it a place where people have hope and joy again. And if you want to learn how to do that, and not just say, well, I'm leading change because things got to get better, because you got to build the culture first, join the Leadership Accelerator. It's on your screen right now. For those of you listening on Clubhouse, the link will be up shortly. But if you go to jamalmaxsam.org/strategy session, you can get on a 15-minute call with me and get more information about the Leadership Accelerator. Or if you just go to my homepage, you'll see it right there, and it'll give you some information. You want to join it so that you can be successful. And I always want you to lead like a champion. So those of you online, I will see you again tomorrow for the other podcast. Get at me so you can learn how to overcome leadership betrayal with a healthy heart and keeping things moving. All right. So I will talk to you soon. Bye-bye.